Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an awesome life. No coffee because it is afternoon. I'm going to prepare you for 2020. It's 2019 and we're not even halfway through, but there's going to be a lot happening in 2020. In 2018, you may have noticed some really crazy stuff going on. I don't know if you remember, it wasn't that long ago, it was just last year, we were experiencing some very strange physical just changes, electronic issues, just a lot of stuff going on. And people were just, it was so noticeable, and I was getting a lot of people writing in. In the fall of 2018, I felt a huge shift. I felt like we had transitioned into something. I just felt it, and I know a lot of other people did too. It was right around October. Then, of course, we go into 2019, and there's all kinds of things going on. We've gone into the fourth dimension. What does that mean? The Earth is absolutely splitting. And what's happening is there are going to be a lot of people staying in the third dimension. That's a lower frequency of focus on the material world, focus on our differences, arguing, ego, all the things that work against us, all the things that have kept this entire planet in chaos. And somehow we haven't learned to change that, but a whole group of people have decided that that doesn't work and there is a better way, and none of it has to do with the material world. Now, some of you don't like to hear that because you think that you have to give that up in order to transition into the fourth and fifth dimension. That's not true at all. There will be more abundance and joy and peace than ever before when you release it. Because when you focus on it, your focus is really a message of lack and dissatisfaction. And when you focus on dissatisfaction and lack, that is exactly what you create. When you feel abundant and you feel happy no matter what your situations, you create that. And the message is, I am happy, I am abundant, and therefore you are absolutely going into that shift, that reality where you're abundant and happy. And so you can't fake that. You cannot say, oh, I'm abundant and happy. You're not believing it. It has to come from your heart. And this is why meditation and really letting go of everything and understanding that the power of the universe is you. Nothing's taking over. A lot of people say, do I have to do certain things? How many times do I have to do this to manifest? And I thought, that is a direct message to me that they're disconnected from the universe. They don't believe that they are the universe, and that they have to send a message to the universe so that it can respond. It's not responding. It is absolutely you doing it. So when I do something, it's happening. There's no I send it out and then it comes back. It appears that way sometimes because there's linear time differences here on planet Earth, but there's no such thing as time. Everything absolutely exists right now. Every probability exists right now. The fourth dimension is confusing some people because they don't understand why there's so many changes going on. They thought that once we go up to fourth and fifth, it just gets more and more peaceful, more beautiful. Well, that is the case. It is really happening, but what's happening that you're going to experience is because we're so used to the material world and the things that we have, that the fourth dimension is going to shake that up. And so those things that are not serving you are being released right now, because what's happening for you is so much greater than that, but it doesn't seem like it at the time. So if you lose a relationship, you're thinking, why is this happening? I thought I was doing all the right things. I thought I was going to fourth and fifth, and then I lost, this love and this job and all these things. And what you're not realizing, if it seems confusing to you, is that you absolutely are releasing things that are a fraction of what awaits you. Be in faith with this. Know that this is all working in your favor. It is, it must, it has to, because the universe is nothing but love and experiences. That's all it is. So when you don't name it bad, then you are at peace with the fact that there's purpose in everything, and that if it's releasing out of your life, there's a reason for it. A lot of people, they want the job, and then they don't get the job, and then they're upset. No, that was the one. Well, maybe that job, what you were asking for, was a job that was great. You don't get the job that you wanted. Well, if you'd have gotten it, it wouldn't have been great. And you wouldn't have known that until you got into the job and thought, oh my gosh, this is so not what I thought it was going to be. So be okay with that and know that you're not going to have all the answers. But if you lose something along the way, it's because something is opening up for something so much greater on the higher frequency. And you cannot go to that higher frequency unless those things break away. They're holding you down, and you may not think that at the time because we're so conditioned to the material world and being comfortable in that. What we know. We love what we know. So what happens in 2020? Well, there's not going to be some big old drastic thing happening. Although we're going to continue on the planet to have, certain, let's just say natural phenomena happening that's going to do some purging. But we've been having that for years, right? Floods and all kinds of things. Flooding has been a big theme. I had years of premonitions and dreams about flooding. They stopped, but water has been a big theme. I've had premonitions of entire cities being perfectly fine, but having really a lot of water as a part of it, almost like a Venice kind of situation. I've experienced that many, many times in my dreams too. And so I want you to know something that's going to happen for those of you who are steadfast and accepting that all things are for the best, and that you must stay on this path of raising your frequency, loving other people, compassion, giving, give the shirt off your back, and then, give your coat, and then, then give the shirt off your back. Isn't that what the Bible says? But the meaning of that means that you can't give too much, and I'm not talking about being a rug and being used. I'm talking about where there is a need and where you can give. That's when the world changes. It's not putting a patch on something. It's really being loving and giving to one another where we can. All right? So you're going to experience a lot of changes. I moved. I knew this was coming, and I was going to renovate my house, and I decided not to and move into a fairly new home instead, which was where I should be in my life right now. It's turned out to be just amazing, but I was coming from an amazing place. So I had to leave something that I was very comfortable in, but I was okay with the fact that things were opening up for me, and I went with them, getting all kinds of signs that that wasn't what I was supposed to do. And so I went with it. So that's going to be very difficult for many of you, because you may be in a comfortable situation and find yourself having to make some decisions that seem right, but still difficult to leave what you know. Don't be afraid of that. It's going to be amazing. And so what's happening is that's just change. We just don't like change. We'll stick with something actually uncomfortable just because it's familiar. People do that all the time. All right, so be okay with letting go. Go along with things. You cannot make a mistake. I want to really reinforce this. You cannot make a mistake. You cannot make a mistake. Anytime you go and you try new things, you're into expansion mode. Expansion means you're sending the universe the messages. That is you. It's not separate from you. You're sending and creating the quantum probabilities that you are open to change, and you're open to whatever you need to do to bring what you need at the moment. And if you go into something that appears to not work out, you needed to go through that experience at the moment. You're learning something from it. All right? So don't say, oh, I went and tried this thing I went into, it wasn't working, and I shouldn't have done that. No. You will never make a mistake when you go into expansion. It's staying where you are and not going into that space that's going to keep you in the third dimension. Totally. That's what third dimension people do. They get so hung up on how things are instead of realizing you are magical, you have unlimited capabilities, you came here to play a specific role to learn things, so be okay with that. And I also want you to know, so in my e-course, you guys can look down here and sign up for my e-course. What I do, one of the things I do in the course is I take you into the imagination. Why? Why do I take you into your imagination? When your quantum focus is on crazy, crazy stuff that you don't believe you can possibly do here, you actually open up doorways into your unlimited capabilities. Even though you know it's your imagination, you're actually playing a game that affects the quantum field, that takes you into a space where all things are possible. I actually say, if you wanna fly around the city like Superman, do it. Do it. We're going to do it. And I take you in a space. It's a really cool exercise. It's really cool that we do that. And there's some other things we do with that too that are a lot of fun. That says there are no rules with this. There are no rules here. I don't think you realize just what kind of power you wield and what you can really do. You can sit and manifest things that will blow other people's minds because they'll witness it. You know, I do things with a thought. Whenever I think of things that are missing, they show up. I had 3 things that I was just thinking of. I went down and those 3 things happened to be in one box because I moved and things are all over the place. Just randomly in one box, the exact same 3 things that I was thinking of. And they were very weird objects that had no reason to be together. One was my dad's money clip. I don't know why it was on my mind, and then it showed up. It's this big. Boxes and boxes of stuff. Why? Because there's no block between me and what I'm thinking about. There's no barrier. And so there's no thought between that, me and that probability. When you open yourself up to absolute, total probabilities and okay with whatever happens, know that it's taking you to something amazing. So the 4th dimension is one of change. It's one of removal of what doesn't serve you. And then the 5th is when you're going to start to feel a peace and you're going to know we're going there. You're going there because everybody's going to experience different realities, right? Because you get to choose yours. You and I will not experience the identical reality because what you believe and think is going to create yours. It's not the same for everybody. So remember that. It's not like we all experience the same thing. This is an individual journey and creation is an individual experience. Otherwise, you know, we would all be automatons experiencing the exact same thing. The reason you came here with individual free will is because your experience is going to be different than anybody else's. All right? So somebody else may have already gone into 5th or higher, and somebody else may be just going into 4th, but we're splitting. All right? We're splitting, and it's already happened. So don't be afraid that you're going to be left behind if you're not experiencing what you think you should. If you're going through upheaval right now, congratulations. You're in 4th. Yeah, it's not what people think it is. 4th is a split. And so it will push you. It'll push you to stay in that mode of determination, of never going back. Because we can do magical things. So this is to prep you for 2020. And so just know that if you've been going through it or you're about to go through it or whatever happens, be okay with it. It is amazing. It's a good sign. Physical stuff, everything you're going to experience just changes. 2020 is going to be definitely a very pivotal year. It's going to start what is, I'm going to say, is a golden age. It's going to be a golden age in many ways. It's going to be the change of a lot of things that the planet will no longer tolerate. And it's going to take you into a space that's going to feel really good and right. And you're going to know it's definitely happening and that everything you've done and all the things you're sticking to, it's good. It's all good. It's all a very positive part of the transition of a very positive place that we're going to take the planet. So don't fear that, all right? There's nothing to fear. There's nothing, no weird stuff going on. What you will need to do, need in a very positive way, in order to stay on this path of transition, is to shut down the negative stuff as much as possible. People are talking about Brexit. Do you know, I actually don't even know what that is. Is that a little scary? Not to me. Because somebody did the same thing, didn't know what was going on, and a friend told them, and they started to worry. And I said, there you go. Because they brought that fear and shared it with their friend. Now their friend has this information and created a story in their head that they should worry about something. That's planetary stuff. You don't have to worry about planetary stuff because you're going to go into a higher frequency that removes us from it. You're not going to die, but you're not going to be in the same reality that other people are. That stuff is going to be meaningless. It has no meaning. This isn't what we're about. The monetary systems and the healthcare systems and all that stuff, we're going to be so way removed from that. We'll be able to do things that are so independent of the structures that we've relied on that it's irrelevant. We don't have to battle anything. We don't have to battle any structure or oppose anything. They'll automatically fall off because no one's going to give them attention or credibility anymore. Don't you be the one that does that. So it's time to absolutely focus on everything positive and beautiful. Get away from the monetary, material focus that's you think is going to make you happy, and go into what truly will make you happy and abundant, and that is absolute giving, love, compassion, peace, flourishing. You will absolutely flourish. Yes, it's okay to desire, material things for yourself, but if your focus is that you believe it's going to make you happy, you're still in the third dimension and you don't get it, and you're going to stay there. And you're going to continue to struggle to try and get that stuff, and you're not going to realize you're so powerful beyond your imagination, beyond what you can comprehend, that you could actually manifest anything with a thought. But you're going to be so focused on the peace and the light and love of this planet and just contributing toward that, that's just going to be something you do, and it's not going to be a big deal. It's just not a big deal, right? So 2020, get ready for it. Be steadfast. It is time to kick it into third gear. Fifth gear, whatever gear you're in, kick it up a notch, because we don't have a lot of time on this linear time planet, all right? And you get to decide what dimension and what earth you live on. And not everybody's going to physically leave, although some will do that. But I know you guys are tired. You're tired. Nobody wants to live in the third dimension. And so hang in there. Your higher self is always at work. Your power is absolutely unstoppable. It's amazing. So stick with it. Do the right thing. Watch those thoughts. Everything manifests. What are you believing and thinking? Be exactly what you envision. I choose to be an awakened, enlightened, beautiful person that makes a difference on this planet. How does that person behave? How does that person think? Who is that person? Because that person is me. And I refuse to be anything else other than that fourth, fifth, sixth dimensional being. I refuse to act like a third dimension person that's going to destroy the planet. You're not going to be there. You're going to move on. 2020 is going to be a big switch. So if you do not get together on this now, the squeeze is going to happen in 2020. You should be working on this now. You should be at a place where you know what you need to do. You start working on it. You get out of your poor little me mode and the victim mode. I don't want to be here. I've tried everything. Bull crap, you haven't. You haven't. Because if you had, you'd achieved awakening. Right? It's not even something you have to achieve. It's something that exists that you can go into. And you can go into that space. So you haven't tried everything. You tried what you think is the material world and how it works. So you haven't gone into that space of magic and unlimited capabilities. probabilities. Get ready. You're whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.